My new hire demanded a private office on his first day, scoffing, "I have a master's degree, so I shouldn't have to work in a cubicle like everyone else." When I refused to switch offices, he stormed into HR, yelling, "They're being uncooperative." His smug look vanished when the HR manager pulled out his contract and said, "Actually, your position is temporary, and your attitude just made it even shorter." I work in a mid-sized tech company based in Austin, Texas. We're known for our collaborative environment, open floor plans, and a culture that values teamwork over titles. Our office is a mix of open spaces, shared desks, and a few private offices reserved for senior management. It's not the kind of place where hierarchy is flaunted. Instead, we focus on innovation and results. Enter Mark. Fresh out of grad school with a shiny master's degree in business administration, he was hired as a temporary project coordinator for a 6-month contract. His resume was impressive, and during the interview, he spoke eloquently about his academic achievements and how eager he was to contribute to our projects. We were optimistic about his potential. On his first day, Mark arrived dressed in a tailored suit, briefcase in hand, exuding confidence. After a brief orientation, I showed him to his assigned workspace, a standard cubicle like everyone else's. He looked at it, then at me, and said, "There must be some mistake. I have a master's degree. I shouldn't be working in a cubicle." I was taken aback. I explained that our company culture promotes equality and collaboration, and even our CEO occasionally works from a cubicle to stay connected with the team. Mark wasn't convinced. He insisted that his qualifications warranted a private office. Mark stormed into the HR department, demanding to speak with the manager. I followed, concerned about the scene he was creating. In the HR office, he exclaimed, "They're being uncooperative. I have a master's degree, and they're treating me like an intern." The HR manager, a seasoned professional named Lisa, calmly pulled out his contract and said, "Mark, your position is temporary, and it's clearly stated that you'll be working in a shared space. Our company values collaboration over hierarchy." Mark's face turned red. He mumbled something about reconsidering his options and left the office. The next morning, Mark didn't show up. No call, no email, nothing. We waited, but after 3 days of silence, HR reached out to inform him that his contract was terminated due to unprofessional behavior and abandonment of position. A week later, we received a call from another company where Mark had applied. They asked for a reference. Lisa, ever the professional, stated, "Mark was with us briefly. He decided the position wasn't the right fit for him." She didn't elaborate, but the message was clear. About a week after Mark was let go, things started to get weird. One of our team members, Jenny, came into the office looking irritated. She told me she got a random message on LinkedIn from someone calling her part of a toxic corporate cult. Then she showed me the profile, some new account with no picture, fake name, and barely any connections. But the wording, it sounded familiar. Then Derek from IT got a message too. Same style. "Wake up. They used you. They'll replace you next." Creepy stuff. The weird thing was, the messages mentioned things only someone who had been inside the company could know, like a private team chat nickname we used for a manager, and some inside jokes we only made during one of our virtual happy hours. It didn't take long before everyone figured out it had to be Mark. Still, we couldn't prove it. HR logged it, but said without solid evidence, they couldn't take any action. So we just kept working and hoped he'd move on. But he didn't. The following week, our company's Glassdoor page lit up with a string of scathing reviews. All posted within hours of each other. All trashing our culture, calling management small-minded, accusing people of favoritism and discrimination, real serious stuff. Again, a lot of the reviews included very specific info that made them seem real. That's when Lisa from HR called me into her office. She looked stressed. She had 2 screens open. One had a long email from legal. The other had a LinkedIn page pulled up. It was Mark's real one this time. She said, "We've been served notice." Mark filed a formal complaint to the Department of Labor, accusing us of workplace discrimination based on educational background. I didn't even know that was a thing. She continued, he's trying to say we created a hostile work environment because he was overqualified and intellectually undervalued. He claims that refusing to give him a private office was a form of humiliation. Now I was pissed. But Lisa wasn't panicking. She was building a case. She had receipts, emails, the signed contract, chat logs, even CCTV footage from the day he stormed into HR. Everything was documented. Still, she said it could turn into a legal headache. Mark had somehow found a shady lawyer who was hungry for a fight. The real twist came a few days later. One morning, I was at my desk when I heard a commotion at reception. Voices raised. Someone shouting. I got up and walked over. It was Mark. In person. Red-faced, sweating, yelling at the receptionist about unfinished business. He had a manila folder in one hand and a phone recording in the other. Security was called. It took 2 people to get him to leave. The man looked unhinged, but before they escorted him out, he shouted something that got stuck in my head. I'm not the only one you did this to. They'll find out. That afternoon, an anonymous email was sent to all employees. A long, rambling rant accusing management of being part of a cover-up involving past employees. It claimed our COO had secretly fired people who thought too big or asked too many questions. The tone was conspiratorial, like a manifesto. It ended with the words, "The truth always leaks." Everyone in the office was shaken. Our CEO held a team meeting the next morning, said the company was pursuing legal action and reassured us that we were safe. But you could tell people were nervous. We weren't a big company. We didn't have the PR muscle to absorb a scandal if one blew up. Jenny said something over lunch that stuck with me. She leaned in, whispering like we were in some kind of spy movie. What if he's not entirely wrong? What if something happened before we joined? I laughed it off, but later that night, I found myself Googling old news articles, looking up past employees on LinkedIn. One thing was weird. About 3 years ago, 5 people left the company all within a month. They had worked on a now-defunct team called Strategic Growth Initiatives. Sounded fancy, but no one ever talked about that team. I brought it up to Derek. He got curious and started digging through the company's old project archive. Turns out that team was shut down quickly, and everything they worked on got reassigned or buried. One of them, a guy named Malik, had since changed careers completely. His LinkedIn said ex-tech, now doing something that matters. He lived just outside of Houston. I messaged him. Didn't expect a reply. But a day later, I got one. It said, "Meet me in person. Can't talk here." They still watch. He left a phone number. Now I had to decide, call him? Or drop this whole thing. But I couldn't let it go. I called the number the next day. I waited until I was home, off work, blinds drawn. My heart was racing even before I heard the voice. "Malik?" I said. There was silence. Then, "You're from Merge Tech, right?" "Yeah. I just wanted to ask about." He cut me off. "Do not say the company's name on this line." I didn't know what to say. I just waited. He finally spoke again, lower this time. "They monitor everything. Emails, calls, even LinkedIn messages. That's why I left. They buried what we found." That line hit me like a gut punch. I asked, "What did you find?" He paused, then said, "Not over the phone. There's a coffee shop in Katy. Tomorrow. 11 a.m. The manager knows me. If you're not alone, I walk." He hung up. The next morning, I drove out there. The place was quiet, old school. I walked in and just stood there for a moment. Then I saw him, tall, broad-shouldered, graying beard. He waved me over without smiling. "You sure you want to know?" he asked. "Yeah." He sipped his coffee, then leaned in. We were working on a predictive hiring model. It was supposed to streamline recruitment, use AI to match the best candidates faster. But something was off. I ran tests quietly. It was rejecting qualified applicants who didn't match an internal profile. The more I dug, the more it looked like the system was weeding out people for the wrong reasons. Age, ethnicity, education level if it didn't come from top schools. My mouth went dry. HR brushed it off, he said. Then 2 weeks later, our project was shut down, just like that. No warning, no explanation. All 5 of us were let go. Told it was performance-related. They offered severance if we signed NDAs. Did you sign? I asked. He looked at me. I didn't. I walked. Now things were starting to make sense. Maybe Mark had stumbled on traces of that system. Maybe that's why he felt targeted. It didn't excuse his behavior, but it added a new layer to everything. I got back to the office and told Lisa. Her reaction was not what I expected. She closed the blinds, locked the door. Then she said, "You shouldn't have gone looking." "What are you talking about?" I asked. She pulled up a file on her laptop. It was labeled Legacy Systems, Decommissioned. Inside were pages of emails, logs, and flagged concerns from years ago. Some of the names matched the people Malik had mentioned. I tried to report it, Lisa said. Twice. But every time I pushed, I got warnings. Quiet ones. I stayed because I wanted to change things from the inside. But now, it's resurfacing. And they'll come for anyone who talks. She looked tired. Worn down. I asked, "Why haven't you told the CEO?" She hesitated. Then said, "You really think he doesn't know?" That was the second gut punch. Later that week, the CEO, Adam, called me into his office. I thought it was about Mark. I was wrong. He asked me to sit. He didn't smile. He started with, "I hear you've been digging." My stomach dropped. He folded his hands on the desk. "Let me be clear. That program was terminated. The people responsible are no longer here. We've evolved since then." I said, "But the system," he raised his voice. "It's gone." Then, softer, he added, "There are things that help this company run efficiently. Not everything needs to be exposed." I didn't reply. I just left. But the next day, my keycard didn't work. IT said it was a technical error. Then Jenny's access was revoked for 30 minutes by mistake. Then Derek's calendar entries vanished. Little things. But they were adding up. Lisa disappeared the day after. Gone. No warning. Her office emptied overnight. HR said she resigned. No goodbye. No farewell email. I tried calling her. Number disconnected. I emailed Malik. Got a bounce back. This address no longer exists. Then I got an unmarked envelope in my mailbox at home. No return address. Inside was a flash drive. It was labeled, "Look deeper." I stared at the flash drive for a long time before plugging it in. I used an old laptop I never connected to the internet. Just in case. It opened a folder with hundreds of files. Memos. Meeting recordings. Internal emails. All of it tied to that predictive hiring system Malik talked about. Only this wasn't just about rejecting job applicants. It had gone further. One email stood out. It was from the CEO to a contractor. Subject line, "Silent optimization." Inside, he talked about creating an internal scoring system for employees, using it to flag low compatibility staff based on behavior, personality, even their social media. It said, "These people don't blend. They slow down culture fit. We phase them out." Quietly. Attached to that email was a list of names. I recognized most of them. People who'd been fired for vague reasons. Some who just vanished. Then I saw my name. I felt sick. They'd tagged me for nonconformist tendencies. I should have left it there. Shut the laptop. Walked away. But I couldn't. I copied everything to another drive and made 3 copies. One I hid in my apartment. One I mailed to a friend out of state. The third I carried with me. Then I called a journalist. She was young, sharp, and already digging into corporate discrimination. I didn't tell her everything at first, but when I handed her the drive, Her eyes lit up. "This is huge," she said. "They'll come after you, though." I know. I wasn't scared anymore. I was furious. Back at work, things were tense. I acted normal, smiled, attended meetings, but I knew they knew something. I saw it in how Adam looked at me, too calm, too polite. 3 days later, the article dropped. Inside Merge Tech, how a culture fit system became a tool for silent discrimination. It exploded. Names, emails, audio recordings all leaked. The journalist did her homework. She got quotes from former employees, experts in hiring ethics, even Malik before he went totally off-grid. The fallout was instant. MergeTech's stock tanked. Adam resigned the next day. Legal got involved. Class action suits. Government inquiries. A whistleblower investigation was launched. HR was torn apart from the inside. People who'd been loyal for years were suddenly turning on each other, saving themselves. But here's the twist. They came for me too. The company accused me of data theft and violating confidentiality. I got a lawyer. The journalist's paper backed me for a bit, but the legal costs grew fast. I lost my job. My reputation took a hit. I got dragged online by former coworkers who blamed me for the collapse. I moved out of Austin. Started over in a small town near Flagstaff. No tech work. I fix bikes now. Simple life. Quiet. Do I regret it? Sometimes. Not because I exposed the truth, but because I didn't do it sooner. I saw the signs. I ignored them. I wanted to believe my company was better. I thought Mark was just entitled. And yeah, he was a jerk, but he wasn't entirely wrong. He just went about it the wrong way. So did I. I waited too long. I played along, smiled in meetings, laughed at the jokes, stayed quiet when Lisa warned me to stop digging. I let them mark people like me for disposal. I won't make that mistake again. MergeTech is gone now, swallowed up by lawsuits and buyouts. But the system? Versions of it still live. Other companies, other offices, different names. Same playbook. People like Adam always land somewhere else. They rebrand, reinvent, smile wider. But me? I live with it. Every day. That's the price of truth. And revenge? It felt good for a second. But it never really fixes you. It just leaves space for the next fight. And if it comes again, I'll be ready this time.